Right now, Trump's birthright citizenship case reaches the Supreme Court. What justices are considering.
Plus, an event that encourages kids to get into the trades. How you can get involved this weekend.
And we're tracking alert day conditions later this afternoon into the evening. We'll talk about the threats and show what future track could look like heading into the afternoon.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now this morning. It's Thursday.
It is.
One more day till Friday. We're almost there.
Yeah, we just have to get through the severe weather we could see later today.
All right, let's get right to it. So is this like a cancel all your plans this afternoon and this evening kind of thing in Madison?
I would say it's going to be quick. So we're looking at Madison specifically about 3 to 5, 6 p.m. and then it's going to move out of here. We will see some heavy rain. Potentially all modes of severe weather are going to be there, but prior to that, we'll be okay. And after that, by about dinner time or right after that, 6 to 7 p.m., those storms are expected to move eastward. So I wouldn't say cancel plans, but definitely download the First Warn Weather app and just monitor the forecast between those mid to late afternoon into the early evening or dinner time hours. Everyone across southern Wisconsin could see severe weather. Lone Rock and then all the way to Milwaukee, those are the areas that are going to have the best chance of seeing that later today. All modes of severe weather are going to be possible about 2 to 8 p.m. But again, for Madison, really honing in on that 3 to 6 p.m. time frame. Platteville, Prairie du Chien may not see any activity. There's going to be a very sharp cutoff for areas that could see these storms and then the areas that don't see them at all. I really think they're going to form right along where this yellow and orange color meet and then continue to intensify the closer they get to Madison. We could be looking at rapid intensification right over Dane County. We'll talk about the threats and time that out specifically in a timeline hour by hour coming up.
All right, we'll check in. Thanks, Savannah. Folks, like Savannah said, track that stuff yourself with the free First Warn Weather app. If you don't have it now, download it wherever you get your apps.
A case before the Supreme Court today could have wide-ranging consequences for President Donald Trump's agenda. At issue is his executive order aimed at ending birthright citizenship. While most legal scholars argue the move is unconstitutional, that's not what the justices are focusing on today.
It appears that they're going to weigh in on this question of nationwide injunctions, so whether one judge can block a policy for the entire country.
Lower courts have blocked several of Trump's policies, prompting the president to argue that those judges shouldn't have so much power. But several Democratic attorneys general involved in the case say now is not the time to limit judicial authority. They argue some of Trump's policies are illegal and accuse him of trying to evade certain court orders. Meanwhile, President Trump is focusing on the money this morning during his last hours in Qatar. He has signed agreements with the country that the White House says will generate at least $1 trillion. President Trump and Qatar's emir watched yesterday as Boeing and Qatar Airways signed a deal to buy billions of dollars worth of planes. The third and final stop of the president's trip is in the United Arab Emirates.
Here at home, Epic is facing accusations of trying to destroy another healthcare tech company. Minnesota's QRIS Healthcare is suing Epic, claiming that Epic violated the Federal Defend Trade Secrets Act, broke California state law, and made false statements about QRIS's products. QRIS says Epic used its control of electronic health record software like MyChart to influence how healthcare providers interact with competitors. In a statement about the suit, Epic says, "We are aware of the complaint filed by QRIS, and we look forward to setting the record straight in court."
Madison's mayor has appointed a new housing director. Chad Rappel will take over as the City of Madison Community Development Authority's next housing director. He is currently at the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. He will join the City of Madison on June 23rd. Lynette Rhodes will continue to serve as acting director until then. State leaders are looking at solutions to the affordable housing crisis. A healthy vacancy rate in the city is considered somewhere between 5% and 7%. Madison has been nowhere near that in recent years, leading to rising rents. However, places like the Ella Apartments are using tax credits to provide low rent options. As part of Affordable Housing Week, the secretary for the state agency that sets building codes toured the apartment complex, highlighting efforts to alleviate the housing strain.
This process easier and more affordable, because if we can start to save a little bit here, a little bit there, we can ultimately build more housing, which has many downstream benefits for communities.
The Department of Safety and Professional Service says the state is looking to update building codes to support that housing growth.
Air safety is under scrutiny as FAA officials face tough questions in the Senate. Lawmakers from both parties are demanding answers after a series of incidents at Newark Liberty International Airport, including a complete radar outage that lasted 90 seconds. The FAA says it's working on a short-term fix to reduce congestion and is also addressing a shortage of air traffic controllers.
I don't believe there was a heightened significant danger to the flying public. But with that being said, from where I sit, we want to remove all risk to the flying public.
The FAA came under scrutiny earlier this year after a deadly mid-air collision between a passenger jet and a military helicopter in Washington. FAA officials admit a hotline connecting Pentagon air traffic control to FAA controllers has been offline for more than 3 years.
The EPA is planning to roll back limits on toxic forever chemicals that contaminate drinking water across the country. The Trump administration says it wants to reconsider whether limits are needed for 4 synthetic chemicals called PFAS. PFAS chemicals break down extremely slowly over time. Low levels of the chemical are linked with certain types of cancers, developmental issues, and other health ailments. EPA mandated testing has found them in nearly half of America's drinking water.
Dane County officials are working to revolutionize waste management as it continues to update and upgrade the county landfill. Landfill Director John Welch says the site now uses a mobile trash lab. It's a mobile classroom brought into the community to demonstrate sustainable practices. Welch also says the new plant reduces environmental impact while generating revenue for the county.
We've got a renewable natural gas plant, a $30 million facility that's taking the gas that's produced in the landfill. We're actually producing 3 million gallons of renewable vehicle fuel that we sell to Quick Trip every year. So that's not only good for the environment, but it's making us money as well.
Landfill staff are also involved in food scrap recycling, construction and demolition material recycling, and utilizing prairie grass as cover for the landfill.
This summer, Sun Prairie is making it easier for you to compost. It's part of their sustainability efforts. You'll collect scraps in a 5-gallon pail, and every 2 weeks, the company Greenbox will transform these scraps into usable dirt. To join the program, you'll have to pay a $10 monthly fee.
They might not know what should go in the compost bin versus what should go in the garbage. So we'll educate them on how to sort their waste.
You have to sign up for the program. It lasts from July until December of 2026. Even if a household isn't signed up, schools and big city events will still focus on composting.
Tomorrow, a new exhibition is coming to a Madison art museum. The Carnelian Art Gallery in downtown Madison has been open for just over a year and continues to showcase local artists. The gallery is introducing its second exhibition of the year. It's titled Dreams in the Undergrowth. Artwork themes include the subconscious, human emotions, nature, and the environment. Gallery marketing director Emily Heidemann says the new exhibit comes at a time when art is dearly needed.
I think art is more important than ever, just given our current, just kind of the state of the world. Art has always been something to provoke thought. It's a very powerful tool to evoke social change.
The Dreams in the Undergrowth exhibit opens at 5 p.m. on Friday. It's part of Madison's citywide gallery night. Artist Hannah Brewer will be headlining the reception with a live painting.
Looks like some talented artists on display there.
Yes, local artists. I mean, like, it just takes lots of talent and detail to be able to do something like this.
Yeah,
So.
a lot of meaning behind a lot of these pieces, I'm sure. Cool, go check it out.
Well, let's check in on Savannah. What's coming up?
We're still tracking alert day conditions later this afternoon and evening. We'll talk about where the storms could develop and what time they're going to continue to move east.
And we're working for the weekend in the 608 this morning. I'll have your 3 things to do just ahead.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. I'm here with a previous president of Kids Building Wisconsin. This is Lindy Yoder. Good morning.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
What can you tell us about Kids Building Wisconsin?
So Kids Building Wisconsin is an amazing event that happens each year. This is actually our 11th year. We are hosting this event that is all about construction. So this Saturday, we will be having over 70 exhibits that are all construction based. So these companies are all based from the Madison area, construction related companies that make this happen, from boom lift rides to virtual reality to hands-on exhibits, lumberjack shows that happen, just so many fun things, and it is 100% free. The reason we do this event is to get kids involved in the trades at an early age.
Absolutely. We have some video here of the kids kind of getting involved from years previous.
Yep.
Now, you're saying, what is the purpose? Why do we want to get them involved at a young age?
There is a skilled trade shortage, and this is a great way and opportunity to not only get kids hands-on and involved, but their parents too, to really see all the great career opportunities in construction.
Yeah, and can you tell me a little bit more about some of the exhibits and interactive activities that kids will be able to do?
Yeah, so all the companies that are sponsoring or exhibiting will have some type of hands-on. So like, for instance, I know like Tri-North Builders does a demo wall where kids can break down a wall, or there's Vindor, virtual reality, just so many great exhibits where kids just have fun. Even the sand that gets poured and the kids just playing in the sand. It's just fun to watch, and just the energy and just fun of the whole day.
And now you mentioned this is for kids of all ages?
Yes, so most kids will be like 3+ that, but anybody can bring their kids.
All right. And now you mentioned a little bit about the parking situation. What do you want people to know?
Yes, so there is no parking at McKee Farms Park. So we have 4 dedicated spots that you can park, and ongoing shuttles every 15 minutes, I think, to and from the park, and it'll make your life much easier parking at one of those spots.
All right, and so for people who are interested in this event, registration is free, but where can they find more information?
Sure. So if you're looking for more information, you can go to kidsbuildingwi.org. All of the information is on there. If you haven't registered and would like to, you can do it from that site, very easy. And then all the information regarding parking and just the schedule for the day, and all the exhibitors too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we're tracking alert day conditions later in the day. It's a foggy start. That's the big story this morning. Similar to yesterday, just not as widespread nor as dense as far west as Madison. Waukesha's down to 1/8 of a mile. Milwaukee, Sheboygan, Manitowoc, and Kenosha down to 1/4. We're now down to 4 in Madison, but a sharp cutoff. Areas directly west like Lone Rock, Viroqua, Mineral Point do not have any visibility issues this morning. By mid-morning, all of that moves out, and then our storm threat, that's going to increase later this afternoon into the early evening. So I would say that time frame, 2 to 8 p.m., that's more tracking alert day conditions, although really honing in on 3 to 6:30 for Madison. I think that could end a little bit earlier completely as well. Hail, large hail, few stronger tornadoes possible, and strong or damaging winds. So basically all modes of severe weather are going to be possible as we head for the 2 to 8 p.m. time frame. There's gonna be a sharp cutoff though in areas that see severe weather and areas that might not get any storm activity. I think most that's going to form right along where the yellow and orange color kind of meets. Places like Platteville and Prairie du Chien might not see any storms and stay completely dry all day today. So Lone Rock, Monroe, Viroqua, La Crosse, and everyone else, including Madison, in the orange or enhanced risk. That's a level 3 out of 5 with the greatest chance of seeing severe weather. And again, all modes of severe weather are going to be possible. The difference between this and our last alert day that we had a couple weeks ago on that Monday, all of the models are very, very similar in timing and the intensity of these storms. So every model pretty much showing exactly what we're thinking with those storms developing somewhere near Platteville and Boscobel. I think it'll be more so where this black line is though, and that's between 2 and 3 p.m. at the earliest, and then continuing to spread east. I really think our greatest storm threat 3 to 5, it could linger into about 6:30 for Madison. I think that'll more so be the case already by Watertown out in Jefferson County, and then even even eastward as far as Milwaukee and areas along the lake. But primarily large hail and damaging winds are going to be the main threats. A few tornadoes cannot be ruled out. This is 2:30 with that line, like I said, I think developing near Mineral Point, Lone Rock, Brocal, La Crosse, and then it could rapidly intensify right over the city of Madison and Dane County. I think we'll have to watch this just because wherever those storms do kind of develop and spread a little bit further east, that's where they're supposed to be the most intense. So that could be for Madison, and then that line's going to expand further east. This looks a little bit worse here. I want to reiterate that that's just going to be a damaging wind threat. And yes, it's going to be a line, but for us, we'll have to watch that because that might not form as a line, single cells, which could be more dangerous and then have rotation in with them. This is now 5:30. I still think we could see a couple of cells even behind that initial first round of thunderstorms. So we're watching that, but the threat quickly diminishes. I think by 7 to 8, most entirely of southern Wisconsin and central Wisconsin, those storms are going to move out of here, out across Lake Michigan and into the state of Michigan, just directly east of here. Any storms we see tomorrow for the afternoon, evening, not severe, and then we're really cool by the weekend, a lot cooler than the near 90 we'll have today, back down into the 60s.
Big cool down after those storms.
Sure will be, and that'll last into next week.
All right, be weather aware this afternoon and this evening.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Savannah. Thursday morning, you know what that means. We are working for the weekend in the 608.
Our Josh Sprider joins us in studio with his weekend planner. Hey, what you got for us?
Hey, good morning, guys. This weekend marks the official start to summer festival season. That's what leads us off today in my 3 things to do. Of course, I'm talking about Setting to Mai in Stoughton, and News 3 Now is once again a proud sponsor of the 3-day event. It's a celebration of Norwegian heritage featuring fun activities and cultural experiences for the whole family, including parades, amazing food and drink, arts and music, athletic competitions, and kids' activities. Meteorologist Savannah Brito and I will be live in Stoughton with more on the festivities tomorrow on News 3 Now this morning with some fun surprises in store. Happening Saturday at the UW Arboretum, the Friends of the Arboretum are hosting a native plant sale. This will be in the large tents on the lawn near the visitor center from 10 to 2. You can shop for more than 200 species of native grasses, woodland prairie, and savanna plants to purchase while supplies last. That is open to the public. And finally on Sunday, Madison Comic-Con is back. This is the 10th year of this event. It's happening in the Monona Terrace Exhibit Hall from 10 to 5. General admission is $10 and kids 12 and under are free. You can find more happenings this weekend in the 608 by going to channel3000.com. Going to be another busy weekend. I know it's going to be cooler in the 60s, but we'll take that. 60s and sunshine. I feel like we kind of skipped over that. We just kind of went right to the summer-like heat. And I think 60s will be just fine to get outside.
It'll feel comfortable, that's for
will,
sure. Because I'm not complaining, but it's been a little. The heat got to me yesterday.
Are you ever happy?
No, I am. But I was on a walk with the kids, and I was like, okay.
She complains about the snow.
Too hot, too cold, too hot.
Complains about the heat.
The
no,
60s
I agree.
and 70s is just like perfect. It's perfect.
It's the
Sweet
most
spot.
Wisconsin thing.
Right.
It's the humidity. It's like you walk outside, and it's like, I don't want to be like dripping in my sweat in the middle of May.
Yes,
Plenty of time for that yet.
I will manage. I will fight through the heat because I do not like cold.
We just want you happy.
Yes, I'll be that anyway, but you know. Josh,
boy.
thank you.
Josh is always looking for inspiration in the 608. Got an idea? Reach out and let him know about it.
Well, still ahead, things get messy for a Naval Academy tradition, and we're talking about banned baby names.
In our next half hour, a new tool to combat text scams.
Welcome back. This photo is from Kevin. Take a look at this bird. And Chris has his trusty dusty backyard birds of the Midwest handbook.
My Sibley's backyard guide.
All right, so what do you think it is?
Shows me that that's an Oriole. That's an Oriole.
Look at you. He takes on bird
I'm not
watching.
quite there yet. I know that someday I'm like my grandfather and so many other grandparents out there and people who love those birds. And thank you so much for sending that picture this morning, Kevin. Appreciate you. All right, hey, check out this time-honored tradition for the U.S. Naval Academy. Barefoot and wet, ripping their shirts off, heading for this greased-up statue here.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to climb to the top, and they got to replace a white hat that's on top of the structure with the hat of an upperclassman. The Academy's class of 2028 took part in the exercise, as they always do, which is a rite of passage for first-year students. There they go. Give him the hat.
I just don't know why this is a public viewing. That a news station.
It is so important for the collaboration.
No, I would not. This does not look like anything I would be attending, but you know, congrats to that class.
Well, hey, I saw this and thought it was pretty interesting. You won't find a baby named King in New Zealand. So King topped the list of baby names rejected by the country. New Zealand policy is strict here. So they ban a lot of names that could be offensive, unreasonably long, or include numbers or symbols. They also can't resemble official titles like a rank without adequate justification. So number 2 on the list of banned baby names behind King is Prince. Last year, the country registered 60,000 births, 38 were rejected. That was fascinating.
We have an alert day coming up. We'll have those details. We're tracking alert day conditions for later this afternoon and evening. We'll have everything you need to know.
Also this morning, a Milwaukee judge set to appear in court as a defendant. How the federal indictment against her could impact her future on the bench.
Plus, swarms of bugs taking over. A bug expert tells us why you're seeing so many and what you can do about it.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now this morning on a Thursday. I'm Chris Stanford.
And I'm Kyrie Lee. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. One more day till Friday, but we have a lot on our radar.
Well, let's get to the weather. That's what you're watching for. The alert day conditions this afternoon. Savannah Brito is going to break it all down for you. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it'll be a very warm, humid, and breezy day. That's ahead of the alert day that we're tracking for later. So this morning, mostly dry. Can't rule out an isolated shower, but the storm threat and severe weather that we could see, that's later this afternoon into the evening, where large hail, damaging winds, and even a few tornadoes cannot be ruled out. So basically, we've got every mode of severe weather possible. Isolated shower storm now until noon to 2. We're going to be dry across southern Wisconsin. Those storms are going to start to develop about 2 to 3 p.m. and that's mainly going to be west, kind of out near Platteville and Boscobel. Those areas might stay dry with the storms forming just a little bit east of there. And that peak storm intensity, that's expected 3 to 6 p.m. for Madison. I think once we get to 7 p.m., that'll be for Watertown and then areas even east of that towards Milwaukee. After 8, our threat's going to be over all across southern Wisconsin. We'll show what future track's going to look like later today, coming up in just a bit.
All right, talk to you soon. Folks, you can track those conditions yourself. Stay ahead of the storm right in the palm of your hand with the free First Warn weather app. Download it wherever you get your apps. Today, the Milwaukee judge accused of helping an undocumented man evade ICE agents will be in federal court.
A grand jury indicted Judge Hannah Dugan on charges of obstruction and concealing an individual from arrest. Her lawyer has filed a motion to dismiss the indictment. Court documents say Dugan escorted the man and his attorney out a back door of her courtroom last month. After learning ICE agents were in the building seeking to arrest the man, agents did later arrest him. If convicted, Dugan faces up to 6 years in prison.
In international news this morning, all eyes are on Istanbul, Turkey, where peace talks are expected to get underway between Russian and Ukrainian officials. It's in an effort to bring their war to an end. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has arrived in Turkey, but Russia's Vladimir Putin is noticeably absent. It comes after Zelensky challenged Putin to meet in person. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and his NATO counterparts are in attendance.
Drug overdose deaths are down significantly across the U.S. New CDC data shows there were 30,000 fewer overdose deaths in 2024 compared to the year before, a drop of about 27%. The 80,000 overdose deaths last year marked the lowest level in 5 years. Synthetic opioids, mainly fentanyl, are still involved in most overdose deaths, but even those fell by 37%. Wisconsin saw the third largest decline in the nation.
If you live in Fitchburg, get ready. Getting to and from the Bell Line could take longer for you starting next month. On Monday, up to 2 of the northbound lanes on Fish Hatchery Road from Traceway Drive to High Ridge Trail will be closed. Crews are working on a water main there. Officials say traffic's going to be open to get through at all times, but they are asking you to take another route if you can. Construction is expected to wrap up by June 15th.
Google is rolling out new tools to fight text scams, which have been on the rise nationwide. The company is updating scam detection technology on most Android phones, making it easier to spot hoaxes like the unpaid toll text. The update also lets Google's messaging app flag potential fraud. The FTC says consumers lost $470 million to tech scams last year.
We've noticed a lot of you on social media have been asking about all the bugs. We tracked down an expert to get some answers. UW Madison's bug guy, PJ Leash, says one bug is particularly active right now. Midges, more commonly known as lake flies. Leash says midges are born and spend their young life down in the sediment of Madison lakes, and that every May they take to the skies to mate.
And they'll live for about 2 weeks or so. So they really have this short window of time to go about finding a mate, laying eggs, and then that's all that they have in store.
Leash says don't spray them or use any repellent. If they're crowding your screens and windows, reduce your outdoor lights and try to wait them out.
In national news this morning, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is defending large cuts to the Health and Human Services Department. He testified for the first time on Capitol Hill yesterday as the U.S. Secretary of the HHS Department. He told a Senate panel that as far as he knows, no working scientists have been fired. Senator Bernie Sanders asked him if health care should be guaranteed in the U.S.
Every other country guarantees health care to all people as a right. Should we? As Americans.
The objective is to get Americans the level of health care that they want, the choice which Americans want. Americans
they don't want the choice to be uninsured.
Well, but
they don't want the choice to die because they don't get to a doctor on time.
Americans prefer private insurance to other insurance sources.
Do you believe? Okay.
And what I would say is, you know, I want to find a solution to this. I want every American to have insurance.
When RFK Jr. was questioned about vaccines, he told Congress, quote, "I don't think people should be taking medical advice from me." Meanwhile, the co-founder of Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream, Ben Cohen, was arrested by Capitol Police after protesting at the hearing.
The sex trafficking and racketeering trial of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs entering its 4th day today. Star witness Casey Ventura told jurors that she endured years of physical and sexual abuse at the hands of Combs. Ventura will return to the witness stand today.
The National Weather Service is trying to fill 155 critical vacancies. The agency is offering reassignment for qualified National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration employees currently working elsewhere. This comes after a wave of early retirements and firings of probationary workers. There have also been other Trump administration incentives for federal employees to leave government service. A NOAA employee says that led to more than 560 departures from the National Weather Service.
President Donald Trump has endorsed a $1.2 billion infrastructure project to prevent invasive Asian carp from entering the Great Lakes. The Brandon Road Interbasin project near Joliet, Illinois, will employ technologies like electric barriers and sound deterrents to stop the carp's advance. The project aims to protect the Great Lakes' $7 billion fishing industry and is expected to be completed by 2032.
Doctors have designed a new gadget to take some of the stress off new moms. The high-tech device takes the guesswork out of breastfeeding. It's designed to help reassure parents their baby is getting enough milk. I know this was a big one for me. The invention comes from Northwestern Hospital in Chicago. It starts with wireless sensors that attach to the mother's breast during a nursing session to collect data.
Once it collects this data inside these sensors, it sends the data via Bluetooth to the smartphone that the mom will be holding, and it shows a graphical representation of how much milk the baby is feeding during the breastfeeding session.
Very neat. The device is going through the process for FDA clearance and could be available in the next couple of years.
A new study suggesting working long hours could be altering the structure of your brain. 2 scientists in South Korea followed 110 healthcare workers classified as overworked and non-overworked. The overworked group clocked in 52 hours or more each week. They had significant changes in brain regions associated with executive function and emotional regulation. That's compared to the non-overworked group. Researchers believe that these findings suggest a biological basis for the cognitive and emotional challenges reported by people who are overworked.
We now have the full NFL schedule for the upcoming season. The Packers face the 5th toughest schedule based on last year's win-loss record. With matchups against 7 playoff teams, they'll have 4 primetime games and a Week 5 bye. For the first time since 2018, the Packers open at Lambeau, taking on the Lions. They'll also play on Thanksgiving in Detroit and finish the season with 5 of their last 7 games against division rivals.
It's a tough schedule.
Yes, tough schedule, opening up with the Lions and...
Yeah, at least we got them at home. Get a home opener, a season opener in Green Bay, and then we get the Eagles later at home. That bye is really early in the schedule too. So, it's always a drain at the end of the season. Like everybody's beat up, right? So if you can get that bye week somewhere in the middle, the later part of the season, that certainly helps your team stay healthy. So, they're young though. That's the thing. Those younger guys tend to stay a little bit healthier.
Young legs, yes. So we'll see how things shape up. Remember, sports director Zach Hanley and our Packers writer Jason Wilde have a back and forth up on our website, channel3000.com.
Check it out.
Let's check in with Savannah. What's coming up?
We're still tracking alert day conditions. Later this afternoon into the evening, we'll time all those storms out and talk about the hazards we could see across southern Wisconsin.
And we've made it to Thursday, which means we are working for the weekend in the 608. I'll have your 3 things to do coming up.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. I'm here with the current president of the board for Kids Building Wisconsin, Robert Thayer. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So what can you tell us about Kids Building Wisconsin?
Kids Building Wisconsin is a fun, interactive day centered around the construction industry for kids. It's a free event at McKee Farms Park in Fitchburg, and it runs on Saturday from 9 to 3.
All right, and so now you work at a construction company as well. Yes. You're one of the people who are participating in this completely volunteer experience. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when this event started, we started it with the goal of bringing the construction industry to a younger generation. We have a shortage in the trades, so educating the parents about the high-paying, high-rewarding jobs in the construction industry, because college isn't for everyone, even though I'm not anti-college, but college just isn't for everyone, and it's a great career, a great rewarding career.
For everybody, for the
everybody,
kids,
for
parents.
the kids,
Okay.
parents, everybody.
All right, and then what kind of experiences can kids and parents have this Saturday?
There's over 70 different exhibits. There's a really cool one by Riley Construction where they can sit on a steel beam and kind of recreate that famous construction shot from New York back in the day. That's a really cool one. There's large construction equipment. Ideal Crane Rental is bringing a crane, and we think it's going to be a really, really big one this year.
Okay.
So we're excited about that, and then they can build mosaic tiles. The sky's the limit. There's tons of different exhibits.
And then you mentioned there's some type of show this year?
Yeah, there's for the fourth or fifth year in a row, Timberworks Lumberjack Show is coming to put on a show. The shows are at 10, noon, and 2, and it's really exciting. It's really fun.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And now we're going to send it over to Savannah Brito with your first WARN forecast.
Thank you, Michelle Renee. We're tracking the fog. That's the big story this morning. But the second and main threat is going to be the alert day with the storms we could see develop later in the day. Milwaukee's down to 1/8 of a mile, Sheboygan at 3/4, Kenosha and Manitowoc both at 1/4. Madison's down to 4. So all the counties right along the lake, including Milwaukee County, those are the ones included in the dense fog advisory. They did not expand that westwards. The fog, the most dense of fog, is not making it as far west as it did yesterday. That could limit some storms, though, later in the day. Temperatures approach near 90. We're going to be in the upper 80s this afternoon, so we have the heat, humidity, and also breezy conditions. Lots of storm energy, too, so those severe weather ingredients needed to support strong to severe storms will be present later in the day. I would say that alert day, 2 to 8 p.m. for all of southern Wisconsin. We're really honing in on that time frame for the city of Madison and most of the immediate Madison coverage area from about 3 to 6 p.m. I think mostly going to be out of here and towards Milwaukee once we're pushing after about 6:30 p.m. There's going to be a sharp cutoff. These storms develop with that cold front that's going to move in. That'll drop our temperatures over the next couple of days. But a sharp cutoff where those storms develop, Prairie du Chien, Platteville may not see anything at all. I think for the most part, those storms really are going to develop basically right where this line is between the yellow and the orange color. Anyone included in the orange color, that's an enhanced risk of 3 out of 5. This is where the greatest chance of severe weather is going to be. And yes, all modes of severe weather, including a few possibly stronger tornadoes, large hail up to egg-sized or greater, and then damaging winds 70 to 75 mile per hour plus. Those are going to be the main threats. Minor flooding also potentially a problem in lower lying areas. Baskerville and Platteville, those storms might not develop near you. I think it'll more so be where this black line is between 2 and 3 p.m. and then continuing to move further east for us in Madison, Janesville, Camp Douglas, all of these areas right here between those two black lines, about 3 to 6. I think once we're pushing about 6:30 and greater to 7, that's mainly going to move out of here and further east. Once we head into 8 p.m., all of those are going to be directly east of the area and more towards Milwaukee. After 8 to 9 p.m., the threat for everyone across central and southern Wisconsin is going to be over at that point in time. So let's take a look at future track. Maybe an isolated shower in the morning up to noon. Noon to 2, we're dry. That's the time that the atmosphere could destabilize. About 2:30, I think by Mineral Point, Lone Rock, Vrokel, across, that's where those storms are going to initially fire up and rapidly intensify as they continue to move further east towards Madison, Janesville, Wisconsin Dells, Black River Falls, and Camp Douglas. There is a chance they rapidly intensify right over our area, meaning this won't be as a linear storm system as when those move east towards Milwaukee. So there could be embedded rotation in some of these cells. Watch what that does. That takes on a more line or linear pattern once it gets past Watertown and Milwaukee towards Sheboygan and Manitowoc, meaning damaging winds are going to be the primary threat. Not completely impossible. We see some storms kind of linger even beyond this initial line of storms into that dinner time hour. But after 7 to 8, I think most of us are going to be dry, and definitely after 8 to 9 p.m., the threat is going to be completely over. Any storm chances for tomorrow will not be severe, and that'll be later in the day. Then a lot cooler for the weekend, but at least we've got the lower to mid 60s.
Yeah, weekend looking real comfortable. Again, the timing on this afternoon. I mean, it's the late afternoon hours or mid-afternoon into the evening hours. To be weather aware, make sure you got that app handy.
Yep, 3 to 6. Download the First Warn Weather app.
There we go. Thanks, Savannah. All right, Thursday morning. That means we are working for the weekend in the 6:08.
Our Josh Brighter joins us in studio with his weekend planner. Hey, Josh.
Hey guys, good morning to you. This weekend marks the official start to summer festival season in the 608, and that's what leads us off today in my 3 things to do. Of course, I'm talking about Setting to My in Stoughton. And News 3 Now is once again a proud sponsor of the 3-day event. It's a celebration of Norwegian heritage featuring fun activities and cultural experiences for the whole family, including parades, amazing food and drink, arts and music, athletic competitions, and kids' activities. Meteorologist Savannah Brito and I will be live in Stoughton with more on the festivities tomorrow on News 3 Now this morning with some fun surprises in store. Happening Saturday at the UW Arboretum, the Friends of the Arboretum are hosting a native plant sale. This will be in the large tents on the lawn near the Visitor Center from 10 to 2. You can shop for more than 200 species of native grasses, woodland prairie, and savanna plants to purchase while supplies last. It is open to the public. Finally, on Sunday, Madison Comic-Con is back. This is the 10th year for this event. It's happening in the Monona Terrace Exhibit Hall from 10 to 5. General admission is $10 and kids 12 and under are free. You can find more happenings this weekend in the 608 by going to channel3000.com. Super excited to help kick off the Setting to My tomorrow. They're going all out for us. Stoughton gets really excited to have News 3 Now every single year. So if you saw, we have our
I can't wait to see your outfits.
Nods. We have our outfits back there already. We'll see how they look. This will be Savannah's first time getting all dressed up too, so we're really excited.
You'll have a preview for us tomorrow morning.
You bet.
Also going on this weekend, we're Broadfest going on. We're doing Celebrity Cashier. If you want to come by, we'll be doing the cashier tomorrow from 11 to 1.
Yes.
Are you doing it?
I'm in the works of trying to get it together.
Okay.
Wait, that's next week.
Is that next weekend or this weekend?
Next weekend.
Next weekend.
That's next weekend?
I
got ahead of myself.
I was like, wait a second.
Okay.
What is today?
I mentioned it and Josh's face just went.
I was
He
like,
had to start thinking and start
Don't
doing the
think so,
math.
buddy.
Like,
yeah, I was like, wait a second.
did I miss something?
I totally got a week ahead of myself.
That's
Next
okay.
weekend.
We'll remind you again.
And then next Friday, I'll be actually out at Broadfest.
There we go.
So, yeah.
Yes.
You got me panicking, Stanford.
Sorry,
I was
buddy.
like, wait, my
Yes.
schedule.
But there is Art Walk Middleton this weekend
That
on
is
Saturday.
true.
So that's another
There's
one.
a lot going on.
There's lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, there's a lot to keep track of.
Yes. But Josh, we're doing our best.
We're
We're doing our best.
Stanford a nice little
Thanks,
calendar.
Josh. I know. Yeah, appreciate it. Hey, Josh is always looking for inspiration to share. Got an idea for him? Reach out and let him know about it.
Well, coming up in the morning sprint, the Wisconsin DNR names Plant of the Year.
If you got a little kiddo turning 3 soon, send us a picture. We'll show it on TV. Back with the Sprint next. Time for the morning sprint.
The Supreme Court will hear a case today that could impact President Trump's efforts to end birthright citizenship. Justices will decide if lower courts can issue nationwide injunctions, which have stopped several of the president's policies. Trump says judges have too much power, while Democratic attorneys general argue judicial authority should remain unchanged.
Milwaukee Judge Hannah Dugan will appear in court today as a defendant. Dugan's lawyer has filed a motion to dismiss the indictment against her. A grand jury indicted Judge Dugan Tuesday. She's accused of helping an undocumented man evade ICE agents last month. If convicted, the judge faces up to 6 years in prison.
Verona-based company Epic is facing accusations of trying to destroy a rival healthcare tech company. Minnesota's QRIS Healthcare filed a lawsuit Monday in the Northern District of California. QRIS alleges Epic violated the Federal Defend Trade Secrets Act, broke California state laws, and made false statements about QRIS's reputation and products.
Peace talks between Russia and Ukrainian officials happening today in Turkey. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has arrived, but Russia's Vladimir Putin is notably absent. It comes after Zelensky challenged Putin to meet in person. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and his NATO counterparts are there.
The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources has named milkweed as its Rare Plant Monitoring Program's 2025 Plant of the Year. The agency is encouraging people to plant milkweed to help save monarch butterflies. The DNR says milkweed is the only plant where monarchs lay their eggs and the sole food source for their caterpillars.
Starting Monday, up to 2 of the northbound lanes of Fish Hatchery Road from Traceway Drive to Highland Ridge Trail will be closed for water main installation. Officials say that traffic is still going to be able to get through at all times, but they're asking you, if you head this way, to use another route if you can. Construction is expected to be wrapped up by June 15th.
We're going to be hot and humid. Highs approach 90 degrees later, and we'll have an alert day in place about 2 to 8 p.m., 3 to 6 for Madison. I think that's when we could see peak storm intensity. All modes of severe weather will be possible. Egg-sized, very large hail, a couple stronger tornadoes, and then we'll also see some damaging winds potentially later, too.
All right, Savannah, thanks for tracking that.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.